Let's have a blast. Let's have the blast of those shoulders. Come on. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. Turn to your neighbor and tell them you get ready because I am. Because I am. All right. You can be seated. It's a pleasure to have you in the house this afternoon. My goodness, it's an exciting day. As I said earlier, it's a pleasure to have Manuel and Ada in the house. Amen. Yeah. That song, when it says, take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. Yeah, we've been a little bit further this year than we ever expected to go. But, you know, he's been faithful, hasn't he? His word is sure. It's a sure foundation. Well, today's really a singular event for me simply because the person who's going to be speaking is my better half. She's my conscience. Yeah. She's been the barometer that's kept me in the safe harbors over the years, and she's also been what's kept me balanced. Not that I've been imbalanced. Don't go there, okay? But she has been the constant that I've been able to cling to, and I'm really grateful for this. My wife, Brenda, she and I have been married better than 22 years. We've had the privilege of being working companions years before we were married, and we developed a friendship, and we've been friends ever since. We spend the better part of every week, you could literally say almost 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, we've spent with each other for the past 24 years. You don't get to do that without learning who the other person is. You go through adversity, you go through trials, you go through all sorts of things, and you find out what people are made of in the midst of those storms. And I believe with all my heart that Brenda's one of those individuals, and I don't take that lightly because I'm careful about who I allow the privilege of standing in front of you. But I believe Brenda's one of those individuals that digs into his word to hear a word from him for her before she's ever able to share it with anybody else. And so I want you to help me make her welcome. Give her a good, solid round of applause as she comes to share with you what Yahweh's dropped in her heart. I told her she could have 15 minutes, 2 hours, whatever she needed, because we're not letting anybody go until she's done. Come on, Mom. Hallelujah.
It's a little different being up here. Okay. Just messed up big time. Sorry about that. I am so grateful to Yahweh for allowing me to be here, because he has been speaking to me for some time about this word, and I have been so busy doing what I like to do stuff. I'm a stuff doer. If anybody understands, I am a stuff doer. I got projects stuff to do. And my kids, when they say, Mom, I say, guys, they say, she's got another project. They clear the room. It's time. But I am grateful. This is an honor to be doing this. So if you feel free, like you want to go to sleep anytime, if anybody want to go to sleep, it's going to be real short, so you might not finish your nap out. So don't get mad, okay? And if you feel like you're in a Hebrew class, give me a minute and I'll get back on track, okay? Just give me a minute. So what I want to look at today is something that the Father has been placing in my heart. It's looking inside the house of Bethany. I know that as you look into the New Testament, Yahshua spent a lot of time going to different places. But this particular place, to me, is that he spent a whole lot of time in and out of it, passing by it, you know, He was just there all the time around this place, Bethany. So I wanted to look into it a little bit further to see exactly, what he's trying to tell us, because he's not just there for no reason. He's there to try to teach us something. So if you would bear with me for a little bit as we look into the house of Bethany. And I want to start with Matthew 26 and 26, 6 through 7. Now when Yahshua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. So I'm going to go through a lot of definitions here. Some of them you probably already know, because you've heard it several times. But I want to look at the word Jesus, and it's Hebrew roots, and it's Yahshua, meaning Yahweh is salvation. We all know that. It's a two-part Hebrew word, and it's from Strong's number 3068, and it's Jehovah, meaning the existing one. And it's also from Strong's number 3467, Yahshua, meaning to save from more troubles. So when I saw that, it has a whole list of definitions, but I wanted to look at the one that says more trouble. So what is more? So I broke it down to find out and say, more troubles relate to or concerned with the principles of rules of right conduct, or the distinction between right and wrong conduct. We've been taught wrong conduct, right and wrong conduct. Have we been taught the right way? So as we've been walking in this new walk that Yahweh has us, we're finding out that our forefathers inherited lies. So we was actually taught wrong conduct and how to present ourselves in a right manner. We're having to relearn. The word for trouble, it means to disturb the mental calm and contentment of, distress or agitate. So have we been agitated? Have we been distressed? That sounds like where we live at right now, in a state of agitation, distress and agony and worry and burden. But he came to save us from this misery, mental calmness. So that Oregon has the biggest state hospital in the world. Yeah, mental hospital in the world. So, and he brought us here. What was he thinking about? Oh my God. So I looked at the word disturbed, to interrupt the quiet, rest, peace, or order of, to unsettle or hinder. So some of those words like rest and peace and quiet, we've heard that word before. That comes from Shabbat. All right. We've all been misled from the Shabbat, from our peace, from our rest, from our quietness and our calmness. Maybe that's why we have a lot of mental problems. Hinder, to hold back. The enemy can hold you back. You didn't know that, did you? He can hold you, you can't see him, but the things and the obstacles, they can be a hindrance to you. You can't see them. When you're getting frustrated and agitated, you need to think about, what's going on here? Doing something that Yahweh wants me to do. And guess what? Yahweh's not going to come down here and move it. He expects you to notice that you are being hindered. That's why that mental illness come into effect. You got to move it. Daniel 10:12. Said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set in thy heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy God, thy word was heard, and I am, that's it, I saw Mississippi, okay? And I am come for thy word. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the king of Persia. So sometimes you got a bigger enemy standing there, keeping you from getting your promise, your word from Yahweh. And he's just, he's strong, because if Michael got to come down, that's just one of the chiefs. So when I read that, I said, oh my God, we got a lot more. Woo! I could do some calling down. Ain't that right, Zena? There's a lot more that is right at our hands, if we pray and we seek the Father to help us with our hindering, but we have to put forth an effort like Daniel did. Yahweh will not put on us no more than you can bear. That's one of my favorite verses. When I start, like 2 weeks ago, I was sick. Oh my God. I was sick, and that come to me. He will not put on you no more than you can bear. So evidently, at this point in my life, I can bear this. I can handle this. So that made me feel a whole lot better, knowing that he's not going to put no more on you than you can bear. He's there with us. Okay, we're still in the house of Bethany now. Bethany is Strong's number 963, and it's Bethania, and it means house of dates or house of misery or depression. So when I read that, I said, Bethany, naturally, I typed in the word dates, and nothing showed up. It's like, okay, it says it's dates. Why it's not showing up here? But it's not dates. It is palm trees or date palms. And this can be seen in the book of Exodus. Exodus 15:27. And they came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water and 70 palm trees. And they encamped there by the waters. Elim is Strong's number 362, and it's Elim, meaning palm. It's the second encampment of the Israelites after the Exodus. So he brought them to Elim after they come out of Exodus. And the number 12, which is considered a perfect number, it symbolizes God's power and authority, serving as a perfect governmental foundation. It can also symbolize completeness of the nation of Israel as a whole. So without us, I'm sorry, if you consider yourself as a Hebrew or Israelite, without us, they can't be whole. And without them, we can't be whole. So that could be also a part of our mental problems that we have, and in our no quietness, no peace, no rest. That could be part of it, because it's like a husband and wife. When you're together, you're at peace. But when you're separate, there's no peace until the other one comes back home. The number 2 is a part of the number 12, and it means to go, to do again, to repeat. It means something different or change of an attitude or character. Could he be bringing them to Elam, to change them, to do something again, something that they have lost while they was in the land of Egypt. Change is good because we have all been taught wrong. So, if you're talking to people and they don't want to understand what you're saying, you just say, hey, change is good. It's good for you to change. It's good for you to have a little change in your life. People are scared of change. Oh my God. They so scared of something different. It's like, I welcome change. You always tell me to do something. I'm like, woo, Lord, that's something else. That's something different I get to do. That's what my kids say. Mom, we do that. Okay, in Malachi 3:6, it says, for I am Yahweh. I change not. So who has changed? Evidently, somewhere down the road, we've changed because he's steady. He hasn't changed. So he's trying to bring us back to change. And this is I know change is coming. So this is why I'm speaking about change. And we hear change all the time. We hear people talk about change. So I want to encourage everybody here that change is good. Change is not a bad thing. Okay, wealth is Strong's number 5869, and it's iron. It means a physical eye, spirit, spring, or fountain. Sorry about that. So we're dealing now with the eyes. Genesis 3:5-6. For Yahweh do know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes, 58:69, shall be open, and ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So this is the beginning right now of moral troubles. Not knowing the difference between right and wrong. Even after we've been told by the Father that this is wrong. And we still continue on going down that wrong road. And that's the mindset of a lot of people. To continue on instead of stopping and say, okay, I'm going down the wrong road. I need to stop here, backtrack, and start doing something different. You don't have to stop altogether, but you got to figure out, I'm doing something wrong. If you don't know you're doing nothing wrong, then you ain't got no problem until you hit a brick wall. Then you'll have a problem. Yahshua came to save from moral troubles, the distinction between right and wrong. Yahweh chose us to reveal the truth about his word. That's not something that we should take for granted or likely or say, business as usual. We're going to just put what he say on the back burner and go do everything what we want to do. And he's really been getting on to me because I do everything that I want to do. And then he'll come. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do this. Okay. I'll stop and then I'll do what he tells me to do. He has plenty of projects for you to do. Plenty of projects. Lots of them, but we just don't want to do them. Okay, I want to read Luke 16:9. I thought this was very interesting. I lost my place, but I love Luke, so I can find that book really fast. And it says, if I can see it here. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely, for the children of this world or in this generation were wiser than the children of light. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon or unrighteousness, that when you fall, they shall receive you unto everlasting inhabitants. So what happened here? This steward, he had done wrong. So he sat down and he got him a plan to do something which I thought was wrong, but Yahshua gave him kudos for it because he did have a plan, and it worked for a little while. But he did have a plan. Most people don't even have a plan, just walk around like, okay, they don't have a plan. The word for light here is Strong's number 5457, and it is false or false. It has the power of understanding, especially a moral and spiritual truth. So the children of light should have a plan. They should know what moral truth is. They should know what the spiritual truth is. But he says that we don't. As I was praying and asking the Father what was Adam and Eve doing, the world says it was an apple that they ate. This is something I really prayed about. David taught that it was an apple. The Hebrew language says that it wasn't an apple. So I prayed and I said, Father, what's the truth here? And so when I was walking through the grocery store, just looking at the fruits and vegetables, I looked at an apple, and on this apple, it had a number on it. And if you're familiar with the Strong's at all, it's based on numbers. And so you can't find a word unless you know the number or you know the spelling of the Hebrew word. Then you can find it. So I was looking at that apple, and I said, why is this apple, why does it have a Hebrew Strong's number on it? So I took it home nosy, like I am. And I wanted to know what was that number for an apple, because the world says that it's an apple. I was raised all my life, and I knew it was an apple, okay? And so on that apple, it was Strong's number 4016, and it is mevushim. And it means the private parts of a man. It's like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. Not only that, he gave me a verse, Deuteronomy 25:11-12. When a man strives together, one with another, and the wife of the one draws near for to deliver her husband out of the hands of him that smiteth him, putteth forth her hand and taketh him by the secret, that's Strong's number 4016, then thou shalt cut off her hand, thy eyes shall not pity her. So I said, okay, that's good. I go pick up another apple. I'm going to see what this one got to say. So it's Strong's number 4135, and it is mul. It means to cut short, to cut off, to circumcise. Abraham was commanded to circumcise both himself and his offspring as a sign of the covenant made between him and Yahweh. So could it possibly be that even though we are not in the land, we are a long ways from home, but we still have connections to the word? And numbers in the Hebrew language are letters, and letters are numbers. So there's a connection. I also looked up the word for beats, and in the Hebrew, on the beats, that's the word in Hebrew. That number is taking you back to the Hebrew word for beats in Hebrew. It's like, oh my God, we are living in the land of Hebrew and we don't know it. Now Strong's number 8598 is tepuach. It is the word that is used when talking about an Hebrew apple. That's the word I've always heard was tepuach. And so it means an apple tree. The bridegroom is described as an apple, the tree among the trees of the forest. So I thought that was very powerful to know that we're on the right track. We have not strayed from what he has us to do. Palm trees is Strong's number 8558, and it's tamar. and it's a palm tree or a date palm, Bethany, or Bethany. It refers to a water living date palm tree found around springs in Exodus 15:27. It's a desert oasis where the date palm flourishes. The righteous flourish as the date palm. Its branches are a symbol of victory. It's a symbol of victory. John 12:13. It says, took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him and cried, Hosanna, blessed is he, King of Israel, that comes in the name of the Lord. This is from a website article, the benefits and uses of date palm. There's a lot of benefits in there. There's one for blindness. It's like, oh my God, one day to day, blindness. Date palm. It's also called the tree of life. You may be familiar with date fruit that are nutrition and healthy, but do you know that the date palm, the tree that produces date fruit, is the oldest fruit-bearing tree on earth? And do you know that the date palms are also the source of medicine and building material for the veterans, Arabians that live in the desert? So there's some medical uses for the date palms. It is used, unripe dates are for use for fertilization if you want to get pregnant. Dates to restore health. Dates are rich in vitamin A and C and fiber. The date palm, the tree of life. So what made me, I gave you you can go on the website and see there's a list of things that it's good for. And what really upset me when I was studying all this, looking at the dates and looking at Tamar and all that, what it means and what it means to us, this made me sick. In August of 2009, the Muslim feast of Ramadan was held, and during that time, Egyptian fruit sellers named the best date of the year after President Barack Obama. Do you understand? He was named after the oldest bearing tree in the world. The tree that means the tree of life. That's the total opposite of what he is. And when they do stuff like that, that's letting you know, the world to know, that he thinks he is the tree of life. Just like after he was voted president, they made up all these pictures and clocks. I've seen them, know where they're at, with him as king. So now he's saying that I am the tree of life. And we know that he is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Totally opposite. But it's according to what you want to believe. You can believe a lie, the wrong thing, or you can believe the right thing. This is what's funny. David and I was visiting a good friend, because the date palms mean a sign of victory. Remember, it's a symbol of victory. And we was visiting a friend, and they handed us a whole block of figs. And I'm standing there with my mouth wide open. I was like, I don't believe this. A block of dates they handed us. And I didn't hear nothing else they said from that time forward. I could not, I don't know. I know he said where they came from, and I'm when he gets here, I'm gonna ask him where did they come from. Because if I'm thinking where they came from, that's a sign of victory to me. That is a sign of victory. And I was like, oh my God. I'm be honest, I didn't hear nothing else they said from that time forward. I went home, was like, did they even talk to me anymore? But it was a great night for me. I just felt the Spirit of Yahweh saying, this is the right thing. You're on the right track. The remarkable thing about date palms is that every tree is usually fertilized by hand. The male and female flower grow on different trees. So this is a process. This is something you got to do intentionally to have these dates. You just can't not do it. So every year they take the pollen from the male and they save some and they put it back because they have to have this pollen in order to fertilize the tree. If they don't, the female tree would die and they will not be able to produce. And this has happened before. So they know that if they don't do this, this happens. And that's the total opposite of Obama. He's thinking about gays and whatever that other stuff is. That's totally different than what. If you don't produce any fruit, you what? You die. And that's what Yahshua said. You're just no good for just cutting down and throwing it in the fire if you're not producing fruit. Let's look at Tamar again. It is Strong's number 8559. As I said, she is the daughter of Judah, daughter-in-law of Judah. She married Judah's son, who died childless. Onan, Judah's second son, died at the hand of Yahweh because he would not raise up seed for Israel through Tamar. So he died childless. So if you're not producing fruit, you think in male and male and female, then you are not producing fruit. So sooner or later, you're going to die because there's no fruit. And you have nothing to pass on, your legacy. Genesis 1:28 says, and Yahweh blessed them, and Yahweh said unto them, be fruitful and multiply. That is a commandment. That's not a suggestion. Perez means breach, a break or a tear, a breaking up. I believe he broke the curse or the spirit that was trying to hide them, that was trying to hinder the Messiah from being birthed. So he broke, when he burst through there, he broke that spirit that was hindering. So that's what we have to do. We have to pray and seek the Father. Yes, even sometimes, I'm going to say it, don't get upset. Sometimes you got to fast and pray to break that spirit that's hindering you. Because it could just be a spirit just sitting there hindering. And once you break that thing, then you can go forth. Tamar is connected to Tadmor. Tadmor means a palm tree. We will be camping at Tadmor for Sukkot this year in Lebanon. This is no accident, guys. It is not an accident that you are chosen. It's chosen for you to be at Tadmor, at a place of victory. It's no accident. Okay, Isaiah 29:17-8 says, it is not yet a very little while, and Lebanon shall be turned into a fruitful field, and the fruitful field shall be esteemed as the forest. This, and it's also connected, I think it is, to Genesis 49:22. Joseph is a fruitful bough by the wells, whose branches run over the walls. We are the outcasts. We're considered as Joseph. So that's the connection. Lebanon, fruitfulness, brightness. So when you're at Lebanon, this tabernacle, be expecting your life to change for the better. Don't come, just to come. Be expecting change, because it is going to be a place of fruitfulness, a place of victory. And in that day shall the deaf hear the word of the book, the words of the book, and the eyes of the blind shall see out of obscurity and out of darkness. So obscurity can be out of darkness and out of darkness. So he's bringing you to a place like he took them, their second stop was Elam, so that they can see. So he's taking us to Lebanon, a place to where we can see things that has been hindering us. So do you want change, or do you want that obstacle to just continue to be in your way? I think I want change. I love change. Change is good. Everybody say change is good. Amen. Tamar is also connected to Ithamar, whose name means coast of palms. Okay, this is good here. This is the good part. His name in Hebrew, literally, this is Brittany's writing, literally, and her words too, poses the question. So if y'all hear some of all this again, you know, if you're hearing it now, you say, I've heard it before. Poses the question, where is the one without blemish, perfect, and completeness? He was involved in building the tabernacle and keeping records about it. Exodus 38:21. He directed the work of the Merarites and the Gershonites as they cared for the wagon transporting the tabernacles, number 7 and 8. Number 7 and 8 says, and 4 wagons and 8 oxen he gave unto the sons of Merari, according unto their service, under the hand of Ithamar, the son of Aaron, the priest. And the word there for wagon in Strong's number 5699, agala, means cart, wagon, and it's from Strong's number 5696, agal, meaning round, but also connected to 5697, igla, a calf, a bullock, a steer, or heifer. So I want you to pay attention to this story. In Genesis 45:26 and 27, and told him, saying, Joseph is yet alive, and he is governor over all the land of Egypt. And Jacob's heart fainted, for he believed them not. And they told him all the words of Joseph, which he had said unto them. And when he saw the wagons which Joseph had sent to carry him, the spirit of Jacob, their father, revived. Okay, this is the story now. To prove to Jacob that Joseph had sent these messages, Joseph directed his brothers to say that the last topic he and Jacob had studied together was that of Igla, Arufa, the calf, whose neck was broken in expectation of an unsolved mystery. So this is the story, that when Jacob was there and Joseph sent him, he was in Egypt, so he sent them back to their dad, his brothers, and then he sent wagons after him. And so that Torah portion that Jacob and Joseph had just finished reading was a Torah portion about somebody when they find them dead, and all the other tribes will come together and they would break a heifer's neck and they would wash their hands, and they said, we don't know who this person is. We had no dealings with this. We had no part with it. The word agalot, wagon, can also be translated as calf, thus alluding to that topic. Therefore, it is written further in this verse, as he saw the agalos wagon that Joseph had sent, It does not say that Pharaoh sent them. This is Rashi talking. The word revive during the year of Joseph, Joseph's absence, Jacob was in grief, and the divine spirit had left him, for it rests only amid joy. Now that Joseph was happy, he was revived spiritually. Rashi and Rambam. Therefore, in the next verse, he is called Israel, the name that stands for his spiritual nobility. So I thought that was very interesting. Ithamar is over the wagon of the tabernacle. So when the tabernacle is revived again and it appears again, Jacob understands that this wagon is saying, my son is alive. The mystery now that has been hidden for so long, is now come alive. Joseph is now alive. There's no more mystery. So when you see the Ithamar coming, and he's coming with the tabernacles, all the mysteries and things that has been hidden is going to be presented, and your eyes will be open, and you'll see everything that's hidden. So I thought that was, whoa, my God, that's heavy. Deuteronomy 21:6, it says, and all the elders of that city that are nigh unto the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer that is beheaded in the valley, and they shall answer and say, our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. So is it safe to say that the absence of Ithamar and the tabernacle is a grief to us, and the divine spirit has left us because we are no longer Israel as a whole? Okay, don't go away. There's more. Okay, we're still in the house of Bethany. Now when Yahshua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, the word for Simon is Strong's number 4613, Simon. And it is Simon the leper, so called to distinguish him from others of the same name. So what I want you to understand, that his name and what he represents is going to be separate from everybody else's name. So you need to pay attention to his name, because there is something in his name and what he stands for that we need to pay attention to. So to set apart, to distinguish between, hear that word again, right or wrong. Those two words kept popping up everywhere I turned. And it's from Strong's number 8095. It is Shimon, and it means here, and it's Hebrew origin, and it's from 8085, Shema, to hear, to listen, and obey. Okay, now the word for leper here is Strong's number 3013, lepes, and it means scales. This word occurs only one time in the Greek. Pay attention. And it's Acts 9:18. And immediately there fell from his eyes as if it had been scales, 30:13, and he received sight forthwith and arose and was baptized. And Acts 9:8, it says, and Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand and brought him unto Damascus. So Saul had leprosy. This is the only time this word comes up. And it's dealing with scales on the eyes when Yahshua was talking to him, and he stopped him and said, what are you doing? What you are doing is wrong. And Saul did not argue, because when you have a leprosy, I don't think there's no room for arguing. So he fell on his face, and he did an Esther fast. And it wasn't Esther fast, no water, no food. Saul means desired. The Jewish name of the Apostle Paul, the name of the first king of Israel. From the Hebrew root, Strong's number 7592, Sha'al, and 7586, Sha'ul, means to ask or asked. People sometimes sought information by asking the Uman and Thuman. Numbers 27:21, the Uman, light, and the Thuman means perfection. And Colossians 13:2 and 3, David said unto all the congregation of Israel, if it seem good unto you, and that it be of Yahweh our God, let us send abroad unto our brothers everywhere that are left in all the land of Israel, and with them also the priests and Levites which are in their cities and suburbs, that they may gather themselves unto us. And let us bring again the ark of our God unto us, for we inquire not at it in the day of Saul. So this is the connection he wants us to see. So he set Simeon the leopard aside, and he wants us to pay attention here to what's going on, what he's trying to tell us about him. In the day of Saul, because their names are connected, in the day of Saul, they did not ask, they did not inquire of the Ark of the Covenant. And in David's book, The Rainbow Language, page 165, it is quite possible, this is what it reads, it is quite possible the Ark, as mentioned with Uzzah above, was being transported during a Shemitah year. We say that this is a Shemitah year to Jerusalem, where the Torah could be inquired of. Remember, the Torah was not inquired of during Saul's reign, because Saul spent 4 years building his house, building his wife's house, his dog's house, few cows' houses. He was just busy just building houses all over the place, but he was not building his own house, building Yahweh's house. And I was reading this verse. It says, I was right here, and it says, okay. And if you have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is of your own? If you can't be faithful in Yahweh's business, I really don't think he's going to give us, he's not going to give us the kingdom, because we cannot be faithful in doing his business. That's why Solomon got in so much trouble. The ark is Strong's number 727, Aron, and it means a ark, a box, or a chest, or the Ark of the Covenant. This word also can refer to the chest for collecting money and offerings. That floored me, because if we start, I've been praying about it, if we start praying for the Ark of the Covenant, the tabernacle, to come back into existence, don't you think there's some money in that thing? Maybe some gold and silver. That's probably why he's got it hid from us. And that would solve a lot of problems. I don't know. I be looking at the good things, man. If I run across that thing, just fall over it, oh, Lord. Okay. Inquire, the Strong's number 1875, Darash, and it means to seek, to inquire of, to examine. Its most important theological meaning involves studying or inquiring into the law of Yahweh. Wow, we are so far from that. In Ezra 7:10, for Ezra had purposed his heart to study the law of Yahweh and to do it, to teach in Israel statutes and judgment. When he started telling me about to study Ezra, I read that book several times. It's like, and that was one of the most important things that I thought that he was, you know, when you read and you think, what is the most important thing in this chapter that he's trying to tell me? And that was the most important to me, is that he purposed in his heart to study Yahweh's laws. and to put them into practice and to teach them. That's what I was teaching the Hebrew class yesterday, that this is not just trying to teach you how to do something. This is in order for you to be able to teach the next person. If you just learn it, then it's no good to you. It's not a bit of good to you if you just learn it. It's like fishing. If you just learn to fish, you never teach your brother how to fish. That's no good. He's always going to be eating your fish. John 12:1. Okay, we're still in the house of Bethany now. Stay with me. John 12:1. Then Yahshua sat down. Then Yahshua, 6 days before the Passover, came to Bethany. He's there again, where Lazarus was, which had been dead, whom he raised from the dead. 6 is connected to the word in Hebrew, Strong's number 7893, shayish, and it's from an unused root meaning to bleach or whiten, the alabaster. So a lot of times when we always think about that perfume in that alabaster box. We never think about the box itself. The box itself represented brightness, something that was really perfect. And it's also was created on the 6th day. So there's that brightness. You are the light of the Lazarus means whom Yahweh helps. Lazarus was dead for 4 days. Yahshua came on the 4th day. He was dead for 4 days. There was no help in Bethany. He was taken out of Bethany, so there was no help. Remember, one of the meanings of Bethany is the house of misery, house of depression. The word that is used for house of misery and depression is anaya, and it's from Strong's number 6041, ani, and it means poor, afflicted, refers to those who are suffering in a state of poverty, oppression, misery from various causes, from being poor and needy. But if you look at Strong's number 6041, Anayah, Yahweh has answered. It is the name of a priest who helped Ezra and signed the covenant with Nehemiah. So if you put the hey, only thing those words is missing is the hey on the end of it. So if you take the hey away, you got misery, depression, poverty, misery. But if you stick that hey onto it, like Yahweh he stuck the hey in Abraham's name, he stuck the hey in Sarah's name. So you put that hey on there, now you got Yahweh is going to answer. Remember, Lazarus means whom Yahweh helped. Ezra means help, or one who helps. In Psalms 121, 112, I will lift up my eyes unto the hill, from which cometh my help. My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. If you read that verse in Hebrew, it could say also, from which cometh my Ezra. My Ezra cometh from Yahweh. So what was Ezra famous for? For the rebuilding of the temple and the tabernacle. That was what he was famous for. Okay, Ezra 7:6. This Ezra went up from Babylon, and he was a ready scribe in the law of Moses, which Yahweh, the God of Israel, had given. And the king granted him all his requests according to the hand of Yahweh his God upon him. So Ezra was responsible for bringing all the stuff back to rebuild the temple. And guess who said, you can have anything you want because you have put your mind and your heart to do this. So you can have it. This is the king telling him that. Ezra 7:21 says, and I, even I can't say his name, the king, do make a decree to all the treasures which are beyond the rivers, that whatsoever Ezra the priest, the scribe of the law of Yahweh, the God of heaven, shall require of you, it be done speedily and thoroughly. The word thoroughly means leave nothing out. You better not leave a hoof and not give it to them. You give him whatever he wants. And our God is greater than the God of Babylon. He is greater. So if we put our mind to doing what he say do and not concentrate on the hindering things that are hindering us and do what he said do, then he will give us. He said, don't hold back nothing. You leave nothing out. The pattern is clear to me that the exile has a big part in the rebuilding of the tabernacle. They cannot build it without the exile, and that is our connection to the land. Everybody wants to go to the land, but going to the land and just sitting, you just gonna fill up that land. Just like you're doing here, you're just filling up the land. One of Ithamar's descendants is Daniel. He returned from Babylon, from the Babylon exile under Ezra. And we know Daniel. Daniel was an awesome guy. Daniel worked for Yahweh. Even in Babylon, he worked for Yahweh. His desire was to do the things that Yahweh wanted him to do. And I know it's a lot of people in here, and I know that that's your desire too, but you don't know how to do it. You don't know what to do. I was in that state many years ago. I was in that state, and Father, I don't know what to do for you, and I don't know how to do it. But I was consistent in praying and fasting until he showed me what he wanted me to do. There's a lot of stuff to do because we got to get out of Babylon. We got to build a temple. We got to go to the land. So we need to be praying and thinking about what we need to do now. When we was in Mississippi, we didn't wait till the storm came before we got up and started doing something. It was too late. When that wind started blowing, you can forget it because it's on then like a chicken bone. All right, thank you for listening. Shabbat shalom.
Wow, that was pretty powerful. How many of you enjoyed it? Doesn't need to be as much time, but the next time either, I don't think, Brenda. Sir? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. I think she did a marvelous job. Marvelous job. What I'd like to do is get to change directions a little bit. We want to make